Hi everyone, it's Aneta Itchak here. So today I want to invite you to reflect on your own plan for 2025. And I wanted to share with you the plan that I have for 2025. I love this time of the year to take stock of how things have gone during this year. And, for me, this kind of sense of reflection starts from November. And in November, as we kind of shift into autumn and then moving towards winter, I love, just taking time to reflect and prepare for the next year and look at where I am with my life, with my daily habits, with my business and what I want to create in the new year and or the fall of the next year and how I want to just keep moving through my life. And one of the things that has come up for me over the last couple of years is this idea of retirement. Hello, retirement. That's not something that's been on my radar for a very long time. But over the last couple of years, as I shifted into my 50s, it's really started pop up, and whether it is the very clever marketing and advertising on Facebook and Google and YouTube, or whether it is just that it's been on my mind much more. Maybe it's both. Usually it's more than one thing. But I certainly started listening much more to people who talk about retirement, who talk about slower living, who talk about your life purpose in a different way. For me, it's very much, my life purpose has shifted. My focus has shifted in alignment with the needs of my body, the way that my brain works, the way that my priorities shifted. I just celebrated a few weeks back my 50th first birthday. And certainly, I've made a lot of changes over the last few years. So one of the big changes that I made was that I stopped drinking alcohol. And that happened before my 49th birthday. My body's been changing with perimenopause. I've been experiencing certain symptoms. And I felt that even though I wasn't drinking a lot of alcohol at that point anymore, like I used to drink loads in my 20s when I moved to London when I was 18 and lived on my own. So you can imagine a very young person living on their own in a big city in a different country. But that was a long time ago. And over the last 10 years or 15 years, my drinking has become lower and lower and lower and less. But I felt that I needed to do that, and I wanted to do it for a clarity of my mind and for my own well-being and health, and so I could manage the perimenopausal symptoms. And it certainly had a huge positive impact on my health and well-being and my mood. I stopped experiencing so much anxiety. My sleep has improved. My focus has improved. And it's been overall a really amazing experience. And so really, continuing with those changes and now looking as a 51-year-old woman, looking at, things like, oh my God, people are talking about early retirement and they're talking, much earlier in their life than I am. And is it possible, and how do I balance it? And I do a lot of work with other practitioners around building their businesses and working in trauma-informed somatic approach in teaching and coaching. And so I'm very clear about my values. I'm very clear about what's important to me. And the slow and embodied living has been very important for decades for me. But now, really, how the question is, how can I embrace it more? And there are a couple of things that really come up for me. And one of those things is really reducing the number of projects that I'm working on. And that so that can and leveraging what I have already. And I have got a really great business that I love, and the way that I love working with other practitioners, in my training certifications and my business mandala program. I absolutely love it. And the question now is, how do I leverage it that I can really hold space and work with others in much deeper way, or much deeper and sustainable way, much more rooted way, in a way that also helps me create a sustainable and thriving business without overworking, without working 7 days a week, which I have done for majority of my working life. I don't want to do that anymore. And there are parts of me that say no more. I am not willing to work for free. I am not willing to continue with the projects in which I which will cost me energetically and time-wise a lot, and will not give me a lot of return on investment, because I have done it for the last 3 decades. And so it has to be balanced. I still want to do my work. I still want to hold space for others. I want to work with them, but it needs to be balanced. And so looking at leveraging, how to leverage things in a way that I'm still doing the work that is my soul's work that I love, and I'm supporting others, but it's also taking care of me with my changing needs as a woman over 50. And then looking forward of, what do I want to happen over the next 5 years and the next 10 years, to actually keep it in balance. So leveraging, working with what I have, focusing on just few projects that I absolutely love. And for me, this is very clear that as we go into the end of 2024 and then we move into 2025, the two main projects for me are the trauma-informed somatic teacher and coach for women training certification, as well as the Embodied Business Mandala Mastermind and Mentorship Circle. These are the two things that are really important. And then there is obviously the one-to-one coaching and mentoring of other female practitioners. But these are the projects that are my soul projects that I absolutely love. And how do I leverage them? So I am moving towards maybe not early retirement, because when I think about early retirement, I'm thinking, oh, okay, when I'm not working loads, I could write that book or finish that book that I'm working on, or I could continue with this podcast, or I could, that's how it looks to me. That's what lights me up. It wouldn't be the kind of thing of, I really don't want to do this work anymore. Off I go. I don't want to work anymore. It might change. And I know how it's changed over the last few years, where, even 5 years ago, I was so happy working 6-7 days a week. And now I'm feeling like, no, this is not, I need to have at least a whole 2 days weekend off. And yes, one of my trainings is one full weekend per month, where I deliver training the whole Saturday and Sunday. And that's once a month. That's okay. But even with another training that I was considering running, that was 6 Saturdays, 6 full Saturdays over 3 months. And actually, I felt the whole body no. It's like, no, I don't want to do it. Not that I don't want to do the training, it's that I don't want to do it on Saturdays, because that gives me only one day to recover. And I need more time than that. when I'm doing work of holding space for others in such a deep, quite often emotional way. So energetically, it takes a lot to hold that space, and I love it. But I also know that as a highly sensitive woman and an introvert, I need more space. So my plan for the rest of the year. First of all, what's your plan? And if I share my plan is to really just focus on those two main programs and then some one-to-one work. And my podcast, this series, and the YouTube channel. And then, I have got a Facebook group that I'm also using. And there might be other bits and bobs. I'm working, I'm creating the manual for the training, and from that I'm creating a book. So that's a big project. But really not signing up for lots of things. There is a training that I'm still completing, so I need to finish that. But really allowing myself to drop deeper and have more space, more time to reflect on what I am doing. So very much embracing slow living, the spaciousness, simplifying things, not having big team around me. And I could see how that was creeping up, where I was building the team around the institute and more hours. And I don't like working like that. So really simplifying that. And the other thing in here that I think I need to mention is the frugal living is part of it as well. It's this sense of realization that I was working really hard, but then increasing maybe my income and doing more stuff with people, but actually, it was taking lots more time. And it was actually, I was paying lots more money out. My expenses were growing. And I know that that will happen on some level, but it was out of proportion for me, and I wasn't happy with that. And so, what is it for you? My invitation to you is to really, at least quarterly, reflect on things like that. And as we are now in November, really take time for the next couple of months to reflect on this year and plan for the next year. What kind of support do you need? What kind of projects you want to work? How do you want to spend time in your life outside of your work with your loved ones, maybe traveling, maybe in nature? How are you going to look after yourself, your habits? Like I've increased the time for my morning practice. So I've always loved slow mornings. And now I just extended them a little bit to have a little bit more time for those slow mornings because I can. I'm in the point in my life that I can do that. Part of that is going out with Oscar, my dog Oscar, for a long walk in the morning. And part of it is rolling out my mat, doing some somatic movement and somatic checking in and some yoga and some breath work. Part of it is to sit down, make myself a cup of tea and do some journaling. I love slow mornings. I used to just, I got into the habit of cramping them so I can be on my computer at 8 or 8:30 in the morning. And now, as we are going into autumn, or we are in the autumn and going into winter, I'm allowing myself not to sit at the computer till after 9 o'clock. Once I've done everything that I wanted to do, slowly, mindfully, then sitting down and allowing myself to prepare for the day and focus on just the projects that are my soul projects and the level and the quality of connection with others, and not go on social media till late in the afternoon, not checking my emails till the afternoon. Once I've done, I've had my slow morning, then I did this content creation or pieces of work that I want to do that require my focus and creativity. And only then, once I've taken Oscar for another walk, come back and do things that require me to connect with others, and answer emails, answer queries, follow up with things, that kind of stuff. And it's making a huge difference to how I'm feeling. So next year, for me, it's the year of slow and embodied living, focus on spaciousness and simplicity, slow mornings, slow evenings, deep work and creativity, and frugality. Using the resources we already have or I already have, decluttering, and loads of time in nature, and really saving for my retirement, saving for things that I want to do. Like, I'd love me and my partner to go for a holiday in Bali for 4 or 5 weeks, maybe even more. I can work from anywhere, which is amazing. So some of it would be a holiday, some of it might be a little bit of work. How wonderful would that be to even consider it as a possibility for somebody like me who's been always so focused on work? Is amazing. So, invitation from me to you here today is, what is it for you, and how would it look like for you? What would be amazing? And what can you do in a very easy and simple way without having to run off to Bali completely? As always, I'd love to know what comes up for you, what resonates, what's landing. Let me know, and let's continue having this conversation. Take care for now.